Hey friends, welcome to the Cheese Boy channel. About a week or so ago, I decided I wanted to put together a list of like covers that I thought were really cool. So I threw out on Facebook for like the local Vegas team here to help me come up with some ideas. I got some really cool things that I hadn't seen that I hadn't been thinking about that they had put up as I was trying to put together my collection. And man, let me tell you, this much harder than I thought. I was the Silver Age, so we're the '60s, and I didn't really collect in the '60s because I wasn't born yet, and so most of the '60s stuff I got kind of going back and collecting and trying to find stuff. And I wanted to kind of make this a collection of not specifically key issues, but covers that I just thought like stood out that were a little bit above and beyond, not necessarily iconic or anything, but just things I thought that were really cool, that like covers that really stood out. And certainly there's a couple artists that had just spectacular runs of stuff that just kind of blew away the art from the '60s and just like kind of became iconic artists. Of course, I wanted to include them in there, and without trying to make this too big. I figured as I was going through this, I would figure we're going to cut out Batman. Just we're not putting any Batman in. We'll make a full separate category for Batman, for best Batman covers, and we can kind of categorize them by like era. We make one video about that, and then also, as you know, I'm like into the silly stuff. I figured cut out all the silly stuff. This is going to be more serious. We will definitely make a video on silly stuff with like the Jimmy Olsens and the Lois Lanes and some of those old Superman ones that are just goofy as all heck. So like here's a couple, like some of the stuff that some of our little Vegas crowd had suggested, and if you don't see it, you're probably your thing is probably going to be into my favorites. So here's a little cut of what some of the Vegas guys had suggested. So I was talking about the some of the artists, like there was Steranko, I think is probably one of the most iconic artists for the era. Did a lot of he did Nick Fury and did Captain America, did a whole bunch, like all sides of the like Marvel and DC, just did a little bit of everything, but definitely a real clean style. I'm really like, as I was going through, it was hard to narrow. I could have made a whole list of Steranko covers, and he's still doing, like, I mean, occasionally you see him do like a variant cover or something here in the current time. So he's still drawing, but man, he was just iconic in the '60s, in the Silver Age stuff. That's just, I think, where he just really stood out from the rest. So I kind of put together a little bit of some of his stuff, just so you know, like some of his what I think is his better stuff. Like I said, we're not taking like key issues and stuff. I'm just thinking, this is all my personal opinion. You could hate these covers, but I don't think you will, because these covers are great. And then one of the other ones, you can't talk about like iconic covers and art in the '60s for comic books if you don't talk about Jack Kirby. And he just was just a humongous name and did all kinds of stuff. with comic books. So again, like here's just kind of like a little collage of his collection of his stuff, just because you can't say best of covers and then not have Kirby in there. And then certainly one of the other things I think is just fantastic cover wise is with two heroes, especially if you got two heroes battling. Um, just I have always been drawn to that when you got two superheroes. You don't even know what the story is on the inside of the book. You just have like a Hulk and a Spider-Man fighting or something like that. Just on the cover, and you just like, I just see those, and I'm like, I want those. That is the cover that sells me on buying on a book, and I just always, I mean, like as you go through, even like just gosh, even bad covers if they've got two heroes fighting. And you will see this because we're going to do a couple more videos of like more current stuff. We'll do some Bronze Age and some modern stuff, and you will definitely see that I like that kind of cover because it will keep reoccurring. Um, so here's the kind of like a little collection of those, just so we're not making our list too long at the end. And a lot of these are pretty nostalgic to me. So like a lot of the stuff that I'm drawn to and I'm attracted, like that the covers that draw me that I really like are stuff that I collected. And so I mean I was kind of looking through, and unfortunately there's not anything. There's no like Wonder Woman or Supergirl in here or something like that. And it's not that I'm against women superheroes, because definitely in the upcoming videos you'll see a lot more of that. But I just didn't collect that when I was younger, when I was like doing the Silver Age stuff, like when I was early collecting. And so like those covers just don't pop to me quite as much. So like I like a lot of those covers, but they weren't falling into like my top covers. So of that, I'm like one of the really great covers like of all time that I like always think of is Avengers 57. It's the first appearance of Vision, but I don't know that it's done in like a two-tone kind of black, white, and red. But man, that's one of those covers that just really always just stood out as like, this is big, cool, awesome cover. So that's definitely one of those ones that always just pops in my head as like one of my favorite covers of like the 60s. Oh, and like blame me for having a type, but another one that's similar, X-Men 50. That was always one popped out and stuck in my head. That was like a green, like a very green toned cover, where it's kind of black, white, and green, little yellow in there. But I don't know what it is. It's almost like when they simplify the color, it makes it stick in my brain more. But this is another one of those ones. And somebody, one of our Vegas crew, had suggested this one as their picks, and yeah, man, this is always one that's in my head as like just so like just memorable of a cover. And I was never a big like war story comic fan. I liked weird war tales, but that was because they had like you had your crew of army crew that was like vampires and Frankenstein and a robot and Medusa, and so they were definitely much more on the fantasy. But like on the regular just war stuff, I didn't ever really read. But for some reason, the one cover from forever always just stuck in my head as like the coolest war cover, and it's almost a little goofy the way it's drawn, and that's probably why I remember it. But as Sergeant, no, Captain Savage and the Leatherneck Raiders #1. I don't know why. To me, it just really, he just pops out of the page, and it just he popped out of the page and into my brain and stuck. Like I said, this is all personal opinion, so I assume that your favorite covers are going to be different than my favorite covers, because everybody's got different style, and everybody's got different likes and dislikes, and you guys know that I'm a little goofy, and I'm a little bit different than the norm, especially if you watched my top 10 comics that I want in my collection. You obviously know that a little bit off. You know, I'm a little bit different than normal, but always Hulk fan, always since like the beginning, been a Hulk guy ever since the beginning of collecting. When I was 10, 12 years old, very first picking stuff up, Hulk. But to me, my very favorite Hulk cover, and quite honestly, I have to say my favorite comic book cover from that era, from the 60s, is Incredible Hulk King Size Annual #1. I mean, it's a pretty iconic cover, and I know we're saying not super iconic, but it's not like a #1, but it has been, you know, it's been repeated a lot. They've made lots of homages to it in different things, but yeah, just that annual #1, just to me is just the bee's knees. This is just the very coolest cover just ever. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little trip through the Silver Age, you know, on our favorite covers here, you know, with a little bit of help from our friends, and certainly like us, share us, whatever. Make some comments. Let us know what covers, what did we miss? What artists did we miss? Is there people that, you know, is there a whole category that I didn't put in? I know it's mostly superhero stuff, because that's really what I collected, and what my passion in comics is superhero stuff. So I don't have as much like Space Tales or you know, stuff like that. Like I said, not a whole lot of war, but certainly I am a hardcore collector getting into Bronze Age, because that is my era, and so, oh man, that is going to be really, really hard to kind of break down into you know, top covers, because there's just that's going to be just so nostalgic. So like I said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, make a comment. Let us know what you think. You know, on us. Let us know what comics you like, what we missed. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so that like when we put up more stuff, the subscription, like, it dings you. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Ignore us. That's okay too. Right? Thank you guys from the Cheese Boy channel. I hope you have a good night.